Do look human. The blushing alien mercenary warned as she removed her gear. Aaron Solis had been waiting longer than he wanted at the Virlia spaceport. The sprawling hub hummed with life, traders, aliens, and robots all moving in intricate patterns, exchanging goods and messages in dozens of languages. He shifted on the edge of a neon-lit walkway, glancing at the blinking advertisements hovering above him. He hated waiting. He always hated waiting, but the shipment delay was nothing he could control, and patience, he reminded himself, was part of being a trader. The crowd's noise was thick but familiar, a symphony of alien chatter, wheeled carts, and humming engines. Aaron wandered deeper into the maintenance sector, curious to see how different species worked on their ships. Most people avoided this area. It smelled faintly of ozone and lubricant, and the floor was littered with small parts that looked deadly if you stepped wrong. Aaron found it fascinating. There was a rhythm to it, a precision that reminded him of orchestras back on Earth, where each member, human or not, played a role. He noticed a figure in the corner, lit by the soft blue glow of a maintenance panel. She was unlike any alien he had ever seen, slender, with smooth, shimmering blue skin and long limbs that moved gracefully. Her exosuit, heavy with gadgets and sensors, lay scattered around her. Aaron froze. He had never seen anyone remove their gear in person before. He knew it was considered private, almost sacred in interstellar culture. "Oh no," a voice hissed suddenly. It was sharp but shaky, and it seemed to come from the corner behind the suit pieces. "Don't look human." Aaron's eyes widened. He didn't expect anyone to speak to him directly. He took a careful step back, hands raised slightly in apology. The alien was clearly flustered, and he realized the blush patterns spreading across her cheeks were not ordinary. They glowed faintly, brightening with every movement. I didn't mean to," he began. "Seriously," she interrupted, pulling a holographic shield around her torso. It's private, all of it, you just don't look." Aaron stifled a laugh. The situation was absurd, but the embarrassment on her face was genuine. It wasn't mocking or aggressive. She was trying to maintain dignity in a way he could barely understand. He decided the safest move was to step sideways, giving her space. "I'm not looking," he said carefully, raising both hands. "I promise, I just didn't know anyone would." "Would be here," she snapped, her voice softer now but still tense. "Exactly, that's the problem. Humans are always everywhere, unpredictable." Aaron grinned, feeling a strange mix of admiration and amusement. "I am unpredictable, I'll admit that. But I didn't mean to invade your space." For a moment she stared at him, her glowing blush dimming slightly. Then she sighed, rubbing the back of her neck with long, delicate fingers. "It's not your fault, I just can't help it. Removing the gear, even for a minute, makes me vulnerable. I've learned the hard way that curiosity leads to trouble." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "Curiosity leads to trouble? That sounds familiar. Humans say the same thing." The alien blinked at him. For a moment he thought he saw amusement flicker behind her glowing eyes. "Humans?" she asked, tone cautious but intrigued. "I've heard stories, persistent, resilient, annoying sometimes, but surprisingly resourceful." "Surprisingly resourceful is a compliment," Aaron said with a small bow. She didn't reply immediately. She was focused on a floating maintenance drone that was buzzing erratically nearby. Her fingers danced in the air, touching holographic buttons and sliding panels as the drone wobbed closer to a restricted docking bay. Aaron stepped forward a little, curious despite himself. "Need some help?" he asked. The alien's blush flared again, brighter this time. I don't need help, this is simple, I've got it. Humans tend to complicate things." "I promise I won't complicate anything," he said. "I just might have an idea to stabilize the drone." She hesitated, then her fingers paused in midair. "Fine, one idea, one. If you make it worse, human, I will make sure your ship registration is delayed for a month." Aaron chuckled. "Deal." He watched her carefully as she worked, trying to understand the gestures that controlled her holographic tools. The drone wobbled dangerously close to the docking bay wall. Aaron pointed toward a lever that could adjust the anti-gravity field slightly. "If you pull that, it should hold the drone steady." The alien froze for a moment, then made a quick motion, her fingers brushing over the virtual controls. The drone floated safely, hovering steadily in the air. She stared at him, wide-eyed. "You actually helped," she said, voice a mix of disbelief and irritation. "I did," he said proudly. "See, resourceful, right?" Her glowing blush faded, replaced by something that looked almost like respect. "Huh, not bad, human, not bad at all." The drone made a soft, approving beep, spinning gently in place. Aaron laughed. I think it likes me too. She looked at him, finally removing the shield around her torso. She wasn't hiding anymore, but her posture remained tense. You're lucky the drone didn't fall into the bay. The authorities there would not have been forgiving. You might have made a big mess. We made a big mess together, Aaron corrected, smiling. She considered this, then shook her head, a small smile forming. Together, I suppose that's fair. For a few moments they worked in silence, adjusting the drone's sensors and recalibrating its trajectory. Aaron was careful to give her space, yet close enough to pass tools or gestures quickly. He noticed her eyes, bright, intelligent, and constantly scanning, but there was a flicker of something else too, curiosity. You humans, she muttered, suddenly shaking her head. Always poking your noses where they don't belong. I suppose that's why some of you are interesting. Aaron laughed. Interesting is a good thing, right? Sometimes, she said slowly, her glowing blush fading entirely now. Sometimes very good. The drone finally settled into a stable hover, spinning lightly in zero gravity. Zyra leaned back, exhaling. Well, human, I must admit, you weren't as useless as I thought, perhaps even helpful. Aaron grinned. I'll take that as a compliment. For the first time, the alien mercenary seemed genuinely relaxed. She folded her gear neatly, glancing at him with a mixture of amusement and caution. You should leave soon, she said. The port authorities don't take kindly to humans wandering into maintenance bays. Even curious humans. I think I've had enough adventure for one day, Aaron said, though he wasn't entirely sure he wanted it to end. But thanks, really. She tilted her head, considering him. Don't thank me yet. Humans are unpredictable. But perhaps next time try not to trip over the security drones. Aaron laughed, bowing slightly. Next time I'll try my best. For a moment they simply stood there, two unlikely allies in a vast, bustling universe. Neither spoke, yet the unspoken acknowledgement was clear. Humans, with their curiosity, persistence, and occasional foolishness, could sometimes shine in ways even the most disciplined alien never expected. Finally, Zyra collected her remaining gear and began to slip it back on, her glowing blush dimming once more as she returned to her usual composed self. Until next time, human, she said. Until next time, Aaron replied, smiling as he stepped back toward the walkway. The Violia spaceport seemed brighter somehow, filled with possibility, humor, and the reminder that in a universe full of the extraordinary, humans could still stand out. And somewhere deep down, Aaron knew this encounter was just the beginning of an unexpected partnership, one that would test ingenuity, courage, and the uniquely human ability to adapt in ways no alien could predict. Aaron followed the neon-lit walkway back toward his ship, but his mind kept drifting to the alien mercenary. Zyra had a reputation across the sector, dangerous, skilled, and fiercely independent. Yet now he had seen a different side of her, one that was flustered, surprisingly human in her reactions, and maybe even curious about him. He reached the cargo bay of his ship, carefully stepping around floating crates and maintenance bots. His ship, the Aurora Drift, was small but reliable. It had taken him years to get it fully operational. As he prepared to check the shipment manifest, he heard a soft chime at the edge of his vision, a signal from Zyra. Curious, he activated the comm link. Hello! The holographic image of Zyra appeared, floating just above the deck of her own ship in the maintenance sector. She had her helmet off now, revealing the blue glow of her skin and the faint blush patterns that always seemed to dance across her cheeks when she was embarrassed or surprised. Human, she said, her voice cautious but not unfriendly. I need your assistance again. There's a situation, a minor complication, nothing dangerous, I promise, Aaron grinned. Minor complications are my specialty. Don't tempt fate, she muttered. Meet me at Dock 17 and try not to look like a human disaster this time. He laughed, securing the shipment manifest in his pack. Within minutes, he was gliding through the docking corridors toward Dock 17, using his personal grav boots to navigate the low-gravity lanes. The corridor opened into a vast docking bay filled with suspended cargo containers, maintenance bots, and hovering ships of all shapes and sizes. Zyra's ship was parked near the center, its sleek frame glinting under the blue light of the docking bay. She was crouched beside another drone, similar to the one from before, but this one was clearly malfunctioning. The lights on its sensors blinked rapidly, and it drifted slightly off course, threatening to collide with nearby crates. I thought I could handle it alone, Zyra admitted, not looking at him. But this one, it's tricky. I could use a second pair of hands or eyes if you don't ruin it. Aaron stepped closer, careful to stay out of her immediate workspace. I think I've got an eye or two to spare, he said. She finally looked up at him, eyes narrowing suspiciously. Humans are unpredictable. What makes you think you can help? Because I've seen a lot of strange machines, and because I like helping. Zyra blinked as if she hadn't expected such honesty. You're either very brave or very foolish. Probably a little of both, he admitted. They worked together in silence at first. Aaron passed tools to her, readjusted the drone's stabilizers, and suggested small tweaks to the anti-gravity controls. Every gesture, every word was careful. He knew one wrong move could startle her or the drone. Why do you humans always keep trying, even when things seem hopeless? Zyra asked suddenly. Aaron paused, considering her question. Because even when we fail, we learn, and because giving up doesn't get anything done, I guess that's what makes us stand out. Her glowing blush pattern softened. Interesting, I've worked with many species, but humans, you never give up, you adapt, you persist, even when it's inconvenient or dangerous. Dangerous? He asked, raising an eyebrow. She shook her head. Not here, but in general, yes. I've heard stories that persistence has saved more humans than skill alone. It's impressive. Aaron smiled. Well, persistence is my middle name, okay, not really, but I try. Zyra's faint laugh echoed through the bay. It was melodic and a little shy. You're irritatingly confident for someone so fragile. Fragile? He said, feigning shock. I'll have you know humans can be very tough, mentally, emotionally, creatively. She gave him a long look. Creatively, I suppose I've underestimated humans. Their small talk eased the tension, and soon they fell into a rhythm, passing tools, adjusting circuits, and carefully guiding the drone away from obstacles. The drone drifted toward a narrow passage between two cargo stacks. The gravity fields there were unpredictable, and it seemed impossible for one person to control it alone. Now, Aaron said, thinking quickly, if we adjust the gravity field in this section just slightly and coordinate our movements, we can guide it safely through without touching the walls. Zyra studied him for a moment, then nodded. Fine, we try your way. But any mistakes, human, I will not forgive easily. Understood, Aaron said, grinning. They moved in unison, Zyra adjusting the drone's stabilizers while Aaron manipulated the local gravity fields. The drone floated through the narrow corridor smoothly, spinning gently without hitting anything. Aaron almost tripped over a floating crate but caught himself, earning a soft laugh from Zyra. You humans truly are clumsy, she said, shaking her head. But I admit, adaptable. I've never seen anyone improvise like that, Aaron chuckled. Clumsy but effective, I'll take it. Finally, the drone reached a safe docking station. Its sensors blinked green and it hovered steadily. Aaron and Zyra both stepped back, taking a moment to admire their handiwork. Well, Zyra said, exhaling, that was surprisingly efficient for a human. Aaron smiled. See, I told you, resourceful and persistent. Zyra's glowing blush patterns flickered softly again. Perhaps you're not entirely useless. I'll take that as a compliment too, Aaron said, laughing. They walked toward her ship, careful of the moving bots and crates. Zyra packed her tools quickly, the precision in her movements almost elegant. Aaron watched her, fascinated by the contrast between her disciplined work ethic and the flustered, almost shy moments he had seen earlier. You humans, she muttered quietly, almost to herself, always surprising me. Surprising in a good way, I hope? Aaron asked, glancing at her. Sometimes, she said, her voice softening. Mostly. There was a pause, the kind that felt comfortable despite the noise and activity around them. Aaron realized he had enjoyed this unexpected partnership, working alongside someone so skilled and yet so human in their own way, even if they weren't human at all. You know, he said, I think we make a pretty good team, even if you don't like admitting it. Zyra glanced at him, a small smile tugging at the corner of her mouth. Maybe, but don't get used to it, human. I usually work alone. Good thing I'm unpredictable, Aaron said. She shook her head, her blush flickering faintly. Unpredictable always. That's what makes humans interesting. As she activated the final systems on her ship, the lights of the docking bay reflected in her eyes. There was a spark there, one that Aaron couldn't quite describe, part respect, part amusement, part something he hoped to explore in future encounters. Next time, she said, securing the last panel of her exosuit, try not to get in trouble. I can only save you so many times. I'll do my best, he said, smiling, but no promises. She stepped onto her ship's boarding ramp, pausing to look back at him. Perhaps humans are more capable than I thought, but also unpredictable and irritating, Aaron laughed. I'll take unpredictable over boring any day. She gave him a small nod, the faint glow of her blush patterns fading as she entered her ship. The engines hummed to life, a soft, musical sound that filled the bay. In moments she was gone, leaving Aaron alone, smiling at the thought of the day's adventure. He glanced at the maintenance bay one last time. It had been an ordinary day for most, but for him it had been extraordinary. He had met someone remarkable, someone skilled, intelligent, and entirely unique. And in that moment, he realized something important. Even in a universe filled with incredible beings, humans still had a way of standing out. Their curiosity, persistence, and creativity could shine in ways that even the most disciplined alien could respect. Aaron returned to his ship, feeling lighter than he had in weeks. He checked his shipment, noting that it had arrived safely. Everything was in order, but he knew that today's real reward was far more valuable: the unexpected connection he had made with someone from another world. As he prepared to depart Violia, he couldn't help but think of Zyra. Perhaps this was just the beginning. Perhaps humans, in their endless curiosity and relentless persistence, could make allies in the most unlikely places. And maybe, just maybe, he thought with a grin, the galaxy had room for more stories like this. Stories of humans who never gave up, who adapted when others faltered, and who found friendship and adventure where no one expected it. For Aaron Solis, the day had started with a delayed shipment, but it ended with something far more valuable: a reminder that humans, despite all odds, could still shine. And somewhere in the docking bays of Violia, a blue-skinned mercenary smiled faintly, remembering the unpredictable human who had somehow managed to surprise her, and maybe, just maybe, earn a small measure of her respect. Aaron Solis could not stop thinking about Zyra as he navigated the corridors of his ship. The encounter in the Violia maintenance bay had been unlike any he had ever experienced. Most interstellar traders kept their distance from mercenaries. They were unpredictable, dangerous, and usually unwilling to trust humans. Yet Zyra, despite her initial embarrassment and flustered warnings, had allowed him to assist her. She had acknowledged his ideas, even praised his quick thinking. The memory of her glowing blush patterns made him smile. There was something about the way she had shifted from strict professionalism to reluctant amusement that fascinated him. He leaned back in his chair, scanning the ship's controls, and realized that the universe suddenly felt larger and more intriguing than it ever had before. A calm chime interrupted his thoughts. He opened it immediately, half expecting another routine delivery request from a client. Instead, Zyra's face appeared, framed by the sleek interior of her ship. "Human," she said, a little more casual this time, "I have a situation. It is minor, but it could benefit from your particular talents." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "I should be honored that my unpredictable brilliance is requested again." She rolled her eyes, the faint glow of her blush lighting up briefly. "Brilliance is debatable. I simply need someone who is adaptable and willing to follow instructions exactly. Can you do that?" "Adaptable, willing, and sometimes reckless," Aaron replied. "Sounds like a perfect match for you." "You will see," she said, cutting the connection before he could respond further. Curiosity piqued, Aaron set course for the coordinates Zyra had transmitted. The journey took him through a quiet stretch of the Violia sector, past floating gas clouds and sleek passenger ships gliding silently through space. It was serene, almost peaceful, in contrast to the bustling chaos of the docking bays he had just left. When he arrived, he found Zyra's ship stationed near a research station orbiting a small, green planet. She was already outside, adjusting a series of small, floating probes. The station itself was quiet, largely automated, and mostly empty. "Human," she said as he docked, "thank you for arriving promptly. The probes have developed an unexpected issue. They are drifting off course and may interfere with the station's environmental monitors." Aaron stepped out, careful to move in zero gravity as he approached the floating devices. "Drifting probes? Sounds like a challenge. I like challenges." Zyra's eyes narrowed, though the tension was tempered by her subtle amusement. "Do not treat this lightly. If these probes collide with the monitors, it could cause the station's data to be corrupted. The researchers depend on this information. It is crucial." Aaron nodded. "Understood. Precision and care. Got it." They began their work in tandem. Zyra adjusted the probe's navigation systems with rapid, precise gestures, while Aaron carefully recalibrated the anti-gravity settings to stabilize them. Every movement had to be calculated, yet Aaron found himself improvising small solutions that complemented Zyra's expertise. "You humans," Zyra murmured, her voice softer than usual. "Always finding a way to adapt, even when the tools are unfamiliar," Aaron smiled. "Adaptation is what we do. We fail, we adjust, and we keep going, works most of the time." The probes responded to their combined efforts, floating into precise positions near the station. One probe drifted slightly too fast, and Aaron quickly reached out, adjusting its course with a small nudge. Zyra watched silently, then allowed herself a faint smile. "Impressive," she said quietly. You have a way of seeing solutions that are not obvious. I suppose that is human ingenuity," Aaron laughed. "I'll take that as high praise. You're glowing in approval, you know." Her blush flickered briefly, the soft blue of her skin deepening around her cheeks. "Do not make me regret letting you assist," she said. "Too late," he said with a grin, "but I promise it was worth it." By the time they finished stabilizing the probes, several hours had passed. The station's systems confirmed that all environmental monitors were functioning normally, and the floating devices were perfectly aligned. Zyra leaned back, clearly satisfied. "You humans," she said finally, "have a strange way of making difficult situations manageable. I underestimated your species before." "I'll take that as another compliment," Aaron said. She gave him a small nod. "Consider it earned, but do not assume this means you are invited to all future missions. I am selective." Aaron chuckled. "I wouldn't expect anything less from you." The silence that followed was comfortable, a rarity for both of them. They floated in zero gravity, side by side, watching the probes spin gently near the station. For the first time, Zyra did not seem tense or guarded. Her posture was relaxed, her glowing blush patterns subtle and soft. "You know," Aaron said, breaking the quiet, "I never thought I'd enjoy working with a mercenary, especially not one who warns me not to look at her gear." Zyra's blush flickered brighter, and she looked away. "It is unusual for me as well. You have qualities that make collaboration easier than I expected, but do not assume I trust easily." "I wouldn't dream of it," he said with a smile. "Trust is earned, not given." They continued their tasks, making small adjustments to the probes, sensors, fine-tuning their positions, and ensuring everything was operational. Aaron found himself learning from her methods, discovering a rhythm to her gestures and strategies. He realized that despite her alien origin, her approach to problems had a clarity and logic that humans often lacked. "Why do you help humans?" he asked suddenly. Zyra paused, considering him. "Because some of you are persistent, some of you are clever. And some of you," she hesitated, her blush brightening again, "can surprise me." Aaron grinned. "I'll take that as a compliment too." The rest of the probes aligned perfectly, and the station's systems confirmed everything was stable. Zyra exhaled a sound of relief and satisfaction. "Well," she said, "this mission is successful, thanks to you, human." "Glad I could help," Aaron replied. "But honestly, I think we make a good team, even if it's just temporary." She studied him, the faint glow of her blush fading to a soft hue. "Perhaps, but do not expect this to become routine. Humans are unpredictable, and I am selective." "Fair enough," Aaron said. "I like being the exception." The two of them floated back toward Zyra's ship. The zero-gravity lanes felt lighter, almost playful, as they navigated past the station's floating modules. Aaron noticed her subtle smiles, the occasional flicker of amusement in her eyes, and he realized that beneath her mercenary exterior, there was a sense of curiosity and respect, one that he had earned through persistence, creativity, and a little bit of charm. "Next time," she said softly, "try to arrive prepared. Humans tend to complicate things unintentionally." "I'll do my best," he replied, "but I can't promise I won't surprise you again." She shook her head, faintly amused, and stepped onto her boarding ramp. "Perhaps humans are more capable than I thought, but also unpredictable and frustrating." "Frustrating?" he asked, laughing. "I'll take that as a compliment too." Her laughter echoed through the docking bay, soft and melodic. "Perhaps," she said, "perhaps." As she prepared to depart, Aaron looked out through the viewport, watching the stars drift by. The universe was vast, full of dangers and wonders, but he felt a sense of satisfaction he had never known before. Humans, despite being ordinary in many ways, had a unique ability to adapt, to learn, and to shine in moments that others might overlook. And somewhere in the glow of the Violia sector, a blue-skinned mercenary thought about the unpredictable human who had assisted her, adapted to her methods, and somehow managed to earn her respect. Aaron watched Zyra's ship disappear into the distance, a sense of anticipation building within him. He knew that this was not the end of their adventures. The galaxy was full of mysteries, and together, human ingenuity and alien skill, they could navigate challenges that neither could face alone. For now, though, he returned to his own ship, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The shipment would be delivered, the trade agreements completed, and the routines followed. But somewhere beneath the ordinary, there was the extraordinary, proof that humans, curious, persistent, and adaptable, could leave their mark on the galaxy in ways others never imagined. And Aaron Solis, smiling quietly to himself, knew this was only the beginning. Aaron Solis had barely finished securing his latest shipment when a familiar comm chime echoed through the cabin of the Aurora Drift. He opened it without hesitation, expecting the unmistakable face of Zyra, the blue-skinned mercenary who had become something like a friend, and a constant source of unexpected adventure. "Human," Zyra's voice came through, calm yet urgent. Her face, framed by the sleek interior of her ship, looked slightly different than before. There was a hint of something new in her glowing blush patterns, a mix of curiosity and anticipation. "I have discovered an anomaly. It is minor but intriguing. I require your assistance." Aaron smiled. "Intriguing, minor, and possibly dangerous," she blinked, clearly unamused by his teasing. "Minor, not dangerous, at least not immediately, but it requires care, precision, and a partner willing to adapt to unusual circumstances. Can you do that?" "Adaptable, yes. Careful, mostly. Unusual circumstances, that's my specialty," he said with a grin. "Then meet me at the coordinates I have sent," she said, cutting the connection before he could respond. Curiosity bubbled in Aaron's chest as he set course for the remote location. The coordinates led him to a cluster of small, uncharted asteroids orbiting a purple gas giant. The area was serene, almost untouched, except for faint signals emanating from a series of small metallic structures scattered across the asteroid's surfaces. When he arrived, Zyra was already there, hovering near the largest of the structures. She wore her exosuit, but the helmet was off, revealing the familiar glowing blush patterns on her cheeks as she worked with a floating probe. "The structures are emitting low-frequency signals," she explained, gesturing toward the devices. "They appear to be part of an abandoned research experiment. I wish to study them, but I require assistance in stabilizing and analyzing the signals. It is delicate work." Aaron floated closer, careful to avoid the uneven surfaces of the asteroids. "Delicate work, abandoned research, and unusual technology sounds like exactly what I was hoping for today." Zyra's eyes narrowed at him, though the tension was softened by the faint glow of her blush. "I should warn you, one mistake and the signals could be lost. The experiment is highly sensitive. Precision is required. No improvisation unless absolutely necessary." "I can handle precise," Aaron said confidently. "Improvisation is optional." They worked together to examine the devices. Zyra's gestures were swift and precise, adjusting the floating probes and aligning sensors with exact calculations. Aaron followed her instructions carefully, using his human intuition to anticipate minor shifts in the signals and suggesting small tweaks to stabilize the devices. "You humans are persistent," Zyra remarked quietly. "Even when faced with technology you do not understand, you adapt quickly. It is admirable," Aaron smiled. "Persistence is what we do best. We keep trying even when the odds seem against us." Zyra glanced at him, her blush flickering softly. "Yes, I suppose that is true. Even in situations where other species might give up, humans continue. It is a quality I did not expect to find in you." Together, they managed to stabilize the signals. The floating devices began to hum gently, synchronized and aligned, their lights blinking in perfect harmony. Aaron watched with fascination as Zyra carefully monitored the readings, making adjustments with the precision of someone who had done this hundreds of times before. "I am impressed," she said softly. "You did not disturb the delicate balance of the devices. You were useful without overstepping boundaries." "Thank you," Aaron said, genuinely pleased. "I try my best, but honestly, working with you has taught me a lot. You have a method to everything, a rhythm that is almost beautiful." Zyra's glowing blush intensified slightly, though she looked away. Do not attempt flattery, human. It is unnecessary. Focus is more important, Aaron chuckled. I'm focused, but I can appreciate beauty, too. As they continued their work, they discovered that the abandoned research structures were part of an old interstellar communication experiment. The devices were designed to send and receive data across vast distances using subtle gravitational fluctuations. The signals, once stabilized, revealed patterns that suggested the experiment had been partially successful, though the researchers had abandoned it long ago. This is fascinating, Zyra said, studying the patterns carefully. The technology is old, but the concept is brilliant. And the signals are surprisingly resilient. With careful handling, we can recover much of the data. Aaron leaned in, examining the readings. It's like finding a message in a bottle floating in space. The researchers left something behind, and now we get to uncover it. Zyra's eyes softened as she looked at him. Yes, and humans, you have a way of approaching these discoveries with curiosity rather than fear. That is rare. Many species would avoid this entirely. Aaron smiled. Curiosity is what makes us human. We explore, we experiment, we try things that others might consider too risky. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but we never stop learning. The two of them worked late into the artificial night cycle of the asteroid field, carefully aligning probes, recording data, and cataloging the recovered signals. Every so often, Aaron offered a suggestion, and Zyra evaluated it with careful consideration before implementing the change. Their cooperation was seamless, a blend of human intuition and alien precision. You humans are unexpectedly competent, Zyra remarked as the final probe aligned perfectly with the others. You have a way of navigating uncertainty that is effective, even admirable. Aaron grinned. I'll take it. Admirable is a word I like, especially coming from you. Her glowing blush flickered again, and she shook her head lightly. Do not assume this means I am easily impressed, but your persistence and adaptability are notable. I respect it. Aaron felt a warm sense of accomplishment. Earning the respect of someone as skilled and disciplined as Zyra was rare, and he knew it was no small achievement. Thank you, he said sincerely. It means a lot coming from you. With the last device stabilized, they floated back toward Zyra's ship. The asteroid field was calm, the purple gas giant casting a soft glow across the metallic surfaces. For a moment, neither spoke. The silence was comfortable, filled with the quiet satisfaction of a task well completed. You humans, Zyra began, then paused. You have a way of making difficult tasks seem manageable, and even enjoyable. That is unusual. Aaron laughed. I guess we're good at turning challenges into adventures, even the mundane ones. Zyra's faint smile reflected in the viewport as she secured the final probe on her ship. Perhaps, but do not expect me to allow this partnership to continue unchecked. Humans are unpredictable, and I am cautious. Cautious is good, Aaron said. I like a little caution mixed with adventure, keeps things interesting. Her glowing blush patterns dimmed slightly, the soft light reflecting the subtle warmth of her amusement. Interesting, yes. Unpredictable, yes. Frustrating, also, yes. But I will admit working with you has been rewarding, Aaron grinned. Rewarding, huh? I'll take it, and maybe next time we can uncover something even more remarkable. Zyra's eyes softened, and for the first time she allowed herself to linger on the moment. Perhaps. But remember, human unpredictability has consequences. Use it wisely. I always do, he replied, smiling confidently, even when it surprises me. The engines of Zyra's ship hummed to life, and she prepared to depart. Until next time, human, she said, her voice carrying a mix of amusement, respect, and the faintest hint of fondness. Until next time, Aaron echoed, watching her ship glide into the starfield. The asteroid field seemed quieter now, peaceful, yet alive with possibility. Aaron returned to his own ship, feeling a renewed sense of purpose and confidence. The universe was vast, filled with challenges, mysteries, and discoveries, and he knew more than ever that humans had a unique ability to shine in ways that others might overlook. Curiosity, persistence, and adaptability were not just traits, they were strengths. And even among the most skilled and disciplined beings in the galaxy, humans had a way of earning respect, forging alliances, and making an impact that could not be ignored. As Aaron navigated back toward the trade lanes, he couldn't help but smile at the thought of future encounters. The galaxy was full of wonders, and he had a remarkable ally in Zyra, whose skill and sharp mind complemented his own ingenuity. Together, they could uncover mysteries, solve complex problems, and perhaps even reshape the way others saw humans in the interstellar community. And somewhere among the stars, Zyra reflected on the unpredictable human who had proven himself capable, clever, and persistent. She allowed herself a faint smile, realizing that even a mercenary as cautious and disciplined as she could recognize and respect the unique brilliance of humanity. For Aaron Solis, the adventures were only beginning. The universe stretched endlessly before him, full of possibility, and he knew that humans, with their curiosity, determination, and ingenuity, would always find a way to stand out, even among the most extraordinary beings in the galaxy. And as he charted his course, he felt certain that the next adventure with Zyra would be even more remarkable than the last.